In June of 1984, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson met in the NBA Finals for the first time. The following week, Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley were drafted, and the league would never be the same. 40 years later, the WNBA arrives at a similar hinge point. A rookie class, as good as advertised, has made a seamless transition from college to the pros, blending with established stars. Sports have a knack for bending stats to fit desired narratives, but the W's growth figures astound. TV ratings have spiked 153% from last season, and that's before the playoffs, which began last week. Gradually, then suddenly, this 27-year-old league has become a prominent player in the modern sportscape. Never mind her slick drives in traffic, the dead-eye passes, the three-pointers like this. Caitlin Clark. Hello. John Wertheim. Hey. How are you? John. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin. Nice to meet you. John Wertheim. Good to see you. A few weeks ago in Indianapolis, we asked Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, ask me the hard-hitting questions, to pinpoint the signature moment of this signature season, and, well, we didn't see this coming, but neither did she. Caitlin Clark, I remember we were in New York and Jonquil Jones set a good screen on me, and I actually popped my eardrum, ruptured my eardrum just on a screen. John Wertheim, your eardrum? Caitlin Clark, yeah, it was a really good screen by JJ. She's a tremendous player, but I think that just kinda speaks to the physicality of the league. It's just she kinda got me in the right spot. John Wertheim, you smiled when you told that story. Good clean basketball play. Caitlin Clark, it's a good story. I think it's something that I'll always remember, like, coming into this league. John Wertheim, triple doubles though, those are all well and good, but it's the eardrum rupture that. Caitlin Clark, that's probably more memorable, honestly. Then again, maybe it's fitting, as this is the season the WNBA lowered its shoulder, made its presence felt, and expanded its reach. These fans came to central Indiana from Newfoundland, Canada. John Wertheim, and you're here why? Fan, just to see the Fever game. Fan, Caitlin Clark. Clark, 22, in number and in age, just led the Fever to the playoffs. She's unquestionably the league's main attraction, but not the only one. Another rookie, Angel Reese, made her mark too. But the real breakthrough star of this WNBA season is the W itself. Building off a college season in which, unimaginable just a few years ago, W games can draw more eyeballs than NBA games do. League-wide, attendance is up 48%. In Minnesota, Napheesa Collier is this season's Defensive Player of the Year. She just dropped 80 points in the first two playoff games. Collier was drafted in 2019 and bridges two eras of the WNBA. We asked her about the difference this year. John Wertheim, home and away, you look into the crowds. What are you seeing? Napheesa Collier, people, which is what we want. Laugh, it makes the game so fun. It's like you're sixth man when you're at home. And then when you're away, you just can't wait to silence the crowd. And that's like the best feeling ever. John Wertheim, you figured out a way to benefit from a full crowd even when it's rooting against you. Napheesa Collier, yeah. It's almost more fun, laugh, when you're, like, in a packed arena with the other team. And you hit, like, a big three or a big block or something. And you hear them all go, oh, I love that feeling. John Wertheim, that's every bit as motivating. Napheesa Collier, it really is. Silencing crowds? Not an issue when the WNBA debuted in 1997, 8 teams paired with 8 existing NBA teams. From the jump, franchises came and went. The Houston Comets won the first 4 titles, only to fold. But amid the instability, the WNBA was giving a generation of girls aspiration and inspiration. When Clark was growing up in Iowa, already running circles around the boys, her dad took her to see a WNBA game in Minnesota. She returned home hell-bent on adding distance to her jump shot. Caitlin Clark, like begging my dad to, like, tear up some grass and pour more concrete so I could have an entire three-point line in my driveway. John Wertheim, did that really happen? You extended your range. Caitlin Clark, oh yeah. John Wertheim, by dumping more concrete? Caitlin Clark, yeah, 'cause it was, like, kind of slanted. Our driveway was, like, slanted, So I only had a 3-point line on one side of the driveway. So, told my dad he had to tear up all this grass, and he did. Likewise, her Fever teammate, 6'5" center Aaliyah Boston, last season's Rookie of the Year, had grand ambitions. Aaliyah Boston. So when I first picked up a basketball, at first I was like, I want to go to college, and that was really my goal. Until probably about sophomore year. I was like, yeah, everything I do is for the number 1 pick. John Wertheim, I love that. So making the WNBA, became like a secondary goal, laugh, at some point. You wanted to be the number 1 pick. Aaliyah Boston, I wanted to be the number 1 pick. She was. Then, this spring, came Clark, Reese, Cameron Brink and the 2024 vintage. John Wertheim, did you have the level of confidence that this draft class seems to? Nafisa Collier, I don't think anybody has, laugh, the level of confidence this draft class does. I think that's what's so amazing about them actually is they don't act like rookies. It feels like nothing gets them down. And I think that's amazing. John Wertheim, not a lot of imposter syndrome going on interesting. Because we play it the right way. We play it really smart. Our season is shorter also. So, we go a lot harder I think in our games. 12 teams of 12 players. 144 of the world's best. Aya Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces, the league's reigning champs, is a 3-time MVP, including this season. Her game, equal parts grace and power. And there's the OG, Diana Taurasi, still doing this in her early 40s. Caitlin Clark, a lot of these players are who I grew up watching on TV and wanting to be like, and now I get to play against them. John Wertheim, now they're guarding you on the perimeter. Caitlin Clark, yeah, it's pretty cool. Clark herself already has a trademark shot, a jumper from just inside midcourt. The logo 3. Caitlin Clark, are you guys gonna make me shoot in these nice clothes? John Wertheim, we got confidence in you. Caitlin Clark, that's crazy. I'm not even warmed up either. Caitlin Clark, I only shoot from back there in games if I've, made a couple. Then you get a free pass to, launch a long 3. John Wertheim. So that's a free